MrBeast Tournament of Wizards. Gandalf vs Dumbledore. Under us minds. Do Mr. Use Tattoo. Chapter 1. The Gathering of Wizards. The fabric of reality tore asunder, depositing two bewildered figures into a nightmarish landscape. Jagged obsidian spires jutted from pools of bubbling magma. Eerie shadows across the desolate arena. Gandalf stumbled, his weathered hands grasping at empty air as he regained his balance.
What sorcery is this? Where are we?
Beside him, Albus Dumbledore straightened his half-moon spectacles, his piercing blue eyes scanning their hellish surroundings.
It appears, my friend, that we've been forcibly removed from our respective realms.
Before either wizard could further contemplate their predicament, a booming voice echoed across the arena, emanating from hidden speakers.
Greetings, esteemed wizards. Welcome to the ultimate magical showdown.
A collective gasp rippled through the unseen crowd. Gandalf's grip tightened on his staff, while Dumbledore's fingers curled around his wand.
Show yourself, trickster. By what right have you torn us from our worlds?
A shimmer in the air coalesced into a massive floating screen. On it appeared the grinning face of a young man with tousled brown hair and an excited gleam in his eyes.
I'm MrBeast, and you're here for the greatest spectacle in all the multiverse. Two legendary wizards, plucked from different realities, forced to battle for supremacy.
This is madness. We have no quarrel with each other.
Oh, but you do now. The rules are simple. Fight to the death. Only one wizard will leave this arena alive.
Horror dawned on both wizards' faces as the gravity of their situation became clear.
You cannot mean to pit us against each other like common gladiators.
Can and will, but don't worry. The prize for the victor is beyond your wildest dreams. Wealth, power, and the ability to reshape reality itself.
Dumbledore's eyes narrowed, his usual twinkle replaced by a steely determination.
And if we refuse to participate in this barbaric display?
MrBeast's grin widened, taking on a sinister edge.
Then both your worlds burn. I have the power to destroy everything you hold dear with a snap of my fingers. So what'll it be, wizards? Fight for a chance to save your realities, or watch them crumble?
A heavy silence fell over the arena. Gandalf and Dumbledore exchanged a long, sorrowful look, understanding passing between them without words.
So it has come to this, old friend. A duel to the death in this accursed place.
Indeed, Gandalf. Though I wish circumstances were different, we must play the hand we've been dealt.
The two wizards began to circle each other warily, their robes billowing in the sulphurous breeze. The very air crackled with tension as they prepared for battle.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for the ultimate wizard showdown. In this corner, we have the Grey Pilgrim himself, Gandalf.
Gandalf stood tall, his piercing blue eyes scanning the arena, his gnarled staff held at the ready.
And in this corner, the venerable headmaster of Hogwarts, Albus Dumbledore.
Dumbledore's long silver beard gleamed in the flickering firelight. Despite the ominous surroundings, a hint of sadness played at the corners of his mouth. Suddenly, Gandalf struck. He raised his staff high, unleashing a torrent of flames that split the very ground beneath their feet.
Behold the power of the flame of Anor.
The inferno roared towards Dumbledore, who reacted with lightning speed. With a flick of his wand, a shimmering barrier sprang into existence.
Protego Maxima.
A shield charm strained against the onslaught, cracks appearing in its translucent surface. Dumbledore's brow furrowed in concentration as he poured more power into the spell.
Incredible! Gandalf's opening salvo nearly overwhelmed Dumbledore's defenses.
High above the arena, MrBeast lounged in a plush viewing box, surrounded by screens displaying various angles of the battle. His eyes gleamed with excitement as he leaned forward, captivated by the clash of magical titans below.
This is going to be epic. I can't wait to see what these wizards are truly capable of.
As the flames dissipated, Dumbledore lowered his wand, his shield charm flickering out of existence. Both wizards stood tall, neither showing any sign of fatigue from the initial exchange.
You've grown stronger since our last meeting, Albus.
As have you, my friend, but I fear our reunion will be short-lived.
The air between them crackled with arcane energy, the very fabric of reality warping around their powerful forms. The spectators held their breath, knowing that the true battle was about to begin.
Who will emerge victorious? The Grey Pilgrim or the Master of the Elder Wand? Place your bets now, folks, because this is one duel you don't want to miss.
As if on cue, both wizards raised their magical implements once more. The arena trembled in anticipation of the clash to come, for only one would walk away from this confrontation alive. Chapter 2. The Clash of Magic. The air crackled with arcane energy as Gandalf and Dumbledore squared off, their eyes locked in fierce determination. The arena fell silent, spectators holding their breath in anticipation of the impending clash.
You shall not pass.
Gandalf's voice boomed across the arena as he slammed his staff into the ground. The earth trembled, and dark storm clouds materialized overhead, swirling ominously.
Impressive, but I'm afraid it would take more than parlor tricks to defeat me.
With a flick of the Elder Wand, Dumbledore conjured a shimmering shield of pure magic. Lightning arced from the tempest, striking the ground mere inches from where Dumbledore stood. The force of the impact sent him hurtling through the air.
Oh, snap. Gandalf's not pulling any punches, folks.
Dumbledore twisted midair, his robes billowing as he landed gracefully on his feet. His eyes narrowed as he raised the Elder Wand once more.
Incendio Tria.
A torrent of blue flames erupted from the wand's tip, engulfing Gandalf in a searing inferno. The gray wizard's skin blistered and burned, the acrid smell of singed hair filling the air.
There.
Gandalf's cry of pain echoed through the arena, but he stood firm. His eyes closed in concentration as he drew upon the ancient power of the Silmarillion. The burns on his skin began to fade, replaced by unblemished flesh.
Unbelievable. Gandalf's healing himself. This is getting intense.
Yo, Gandalf, that's what I'm talking about. Show that old man what real magic looks like.
Ishospeed's voice cracked with excitement, his eyes wide as he leaned forward in his seat, fists pumping in the air for Gandalf.
Turo.
Dumbledore's spell shot towards Gandalf, aiming to transfigure him into stone, but the Maya's innate resistance to such magic caused the spell to fizzle harmlessly against his chest.
My turn.
Gandalf's staff struck the ground once more. The earth beneath their feet came alive, jagged rocks and debris rising into the air like a swarm of angry hornets.
Protego Maxima.
Dumbledore's shield charm expanded, but it wasn't enough to completely deflect Gandalf's assault. Sharp stones tore through his robes, leaving deep gashes across his arms and face. Blood trickled down his cheek, staining his silver beard crimson.
No, Professor Dumbledore, don't give up. Remember what you taught us about perseverance.
Harry's voice was hoarse from shouting, his fists clenched in worry for his mentor. The battle continued to escalate, neither wizard giving ground.
This is brutal. Dumbledore's taking a beating, but he's not out of the fight yet.
With a wave of his wand, Dumbledore transfigured the incoming projectiles into harmless dust. The air filled with a fine, glittering powder that settled on the scorched earth around them.
Expulso.
The ground beneath Gandalf's feet exploded, sending him stumbling backward. He regained his footing just in time to deflect a barrage of hexes from Dumbledore's wand.
Excellent form, Dumbledore. Channel your inner force. I mean, your inner magic. Feel it flow through you.
Obi-Wan's voice carried over the crowd, his Jedi calm at odds with the excitement in his eyes as he cheered for Dumbledore.
You fight well, Headmaster, but the power of the Valar flows through me.
Gandalf's staff glowed with an otherworldly light. A beam of pure energy shot forth, colliding with a spell from Dumbledore's wand. The resulting explosion shook the very foundations of the arena.
Gandalf, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can.
Taylor's impromptu cheer rang out, her voice melodious even in the chaos. She swayed to her own rhythm, fully invested in Gandalf's performance.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. These wizards are tearing this place apart.
The once pristine arena now lay in ruins. Scorched earth, shattered stone, and pools of blood painted a grim picture of the battle's intensity. Yet, neither wizard showed signs of yielding.
Shall we take this up a notch, old friend?
I thought she'd never ask.
As the two wizards readied themselves for another round, the air hummed with raw, untamed magic. The spectators watched in awe and terror, knowing that only one could emerge victorious from this clash of titans.
Gandalf, bro, end this. Show him why they call you the White.
Professor, remember the power of love. It's your greatest strength.
Trust in your instincts, Dumbledore. Let the mad force guide you.
Gandalf, they're just gonna shake you off. Shake it off. Shake it off.
The cacophony of cheers and advice from the crowd seemed to fuel the wizard's determination. Gandalf and Dumbledore faced each other once more, their powers at their peak, ready to unleash devastation upon one another.
This is it, folks. The final showdown. Who will emerge victorious in this epic battle of magical titans? Oh.
As if spurred on by the crowd's fervor, Gandalf and Dumbledore redoubled their efforts. The final confrontation. The arena lay in ruins, a testament to the fierce battle that had raged between the two wizards. Smoke curled from scorched earth, and the acrid smell of ozone hung heavy in the air. Gandalf and Dumbledore stood facing each other, their once pristine robes now tattered and stained with blood and grime.
You fight well, old friend, but this ends now.
Indeed it does, Mithrandir. Let us finish this with honor.
With a thunderous roar, Gandalf raised his staff high above his head. The sky darkened as clouds swirled ominously overhead. A massive shape began to form, scales glinting in the dim light.
Holy crap. Is that what I think it is?
A colossal dragon materialized, its wingspan blocking out what little light remained. It circled once before landing behind Gandalf with an earth-shaking thud.
Impressive, but two can play at that game.
Dumbledore's wand moved in intricate patterns, leaving trails of silver light in its wake. The air shimmered and warped as a massive, ethereal serpent took form. Its translucent body coiled protectively around the Hogwarts headmaster.
This is We've got a dragon versus a giant ghost snake.
The two magical beasts lunged at each other. The dragon's fiery breath met the serpent's spectral coils in a spectacular clash of elements. As their creations battled overhead, Gandalf and Dumbledore closed the distance between them.
Your parlor tricks end here, Albus.
We shall see, my friend.
Gandalf's sword, Glamdring, sang as it cut through the air. It met Dumbledore's wand with a resounding clang that echoed throughout the arena. Sparks flew as metal met wood imbued with ancient magic.
They're going at it hand to hand now. This is intense.
The two wizards traded blows, their movements a blur of deadly precision. Gandalf's millennia of experience clashed against Dumbledore's innovative spellwork. Blood and sweat mingled on the ground beneath their feet.
You leave me no choice, old friend.
Dumbledore's eyes hardened as he raised his wand. The air crackled with malevolent energy.
Avada Kedavra.
A sickly green light erupted from the Elder One, streaking towards Gandalf with lethal intent. But the Grey Pilgrim was ready.
Not today.
With a twist of his staff, Gandalf deflected the killing curse. It ricocheted off an invisible barrier, careening back towards its caster. Dumbledore's eyes widened in shock as his own spell struck him squarely in the chest. Jones!
Oh my god, did that just happen?
Dumbledore's body contorted in agony, racked by the very curse he had cast. He fell to his knees, the ethereal serpent dissipating as his concentration broke.
I'm sorry, old friend. May you find peace in the next great adventure.
With a heavy heart, Gandalf raised Glamdring high. The blade glinted in the dragonfire overhead as he brought it down in one swift, merciful stroke. The sword plunged into Dumbledore's chest, ending the duel with brutal finality.
It's over. Gandalf has won.
A hush fell over the arena as Dumbledore's body slumped to the ground. The dragon let out a triumphant roar before fading away. Gandalf stood alone, victorious but weary. Victorious but weary.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our champion, Gandalf the Grey, victor of the Wizards Tournament.
The crowd erupted in a cacophony of cheers and gasps. Some celebrated the spectacle they had witnessed, while others mourned the loss of a beloved wizard.
Gandalf, as the winner, you've earned untold riches and magical artifacts beyond imagination.
How do you feel?
Victory tastes bitter when bought with the blood of a friend, but such is the nature of power and those who seek it.
As Gandalf's words echoed through the arena, a somber silence fell over the spectators. The once frenzied crowd now stood in quiet reflection, the full weight of what they had witnessed settling upon them. The tournament grounds, scarred and broken, served as a grim reminder of the destructive nature of unchecked ambition and the heavy cost of ultimate power.